Hello everyone, my name is Dimension Master Studios, attorney at law. Now, it has recently been brought to my attention that when it comes to the TV show known as Lego Ninjago, there is a character who has committed many crimes over the events of her time in the show. This character being a female character by the name of Harumi. And again, as I have stated, she has committed many crimes over her time being in the show. However, the exact amount of crimes is unknown at this point. And so in today's video, I will explain to you guys all of the crimes that Harumi has committed when it comes to the events of her time being in the show. So let us begin. Now, it should be stated that I will not be going over how long Harumi will be in prison, because that would be a completely other video. So please, let me know if you want me to cover the actual sentencing when it comes to how long Harumi would be in jail, and I will make a part 2 to this video. Also, if I end up getting a term wrong when it comes to the crime that Harumi committed, my apologies. So let us begin. Let us begin by talking about the crimes that Harumi committed prior to the events of Season 8 actually starting. For starters, we have starting and leading a criminal syndicate. We know that the Sons of Garmadon are a group of criminals because, according to Zane during Season 8's first episode, the Sons of Garmadon are called, quote, a criminal syndicate growing in prominence in Ninjago City. And considering what we see throughout the events of Season 8, this is most certainly true. I mean, Season 8's opening scene is literally 6 members of the Sons of Garmadon stealing the Mask of Vengeance from Cyrus Borg. However, that is not all. Remember, when it comes to the Sons of Garmadon, they're not just a group of criminals, they are also a cult because they worship Lord Garmadon, who is an Oni, and in Japanese mythology, Oni are considered to be demons. Plus, in addition to this, when it comes to Harumi, we also have kidnapping because, as we find out once later on during the season, Misako was taken prisoner, so we can have that, as well as also false imprisonment, considering she locked up Misako. We also have child abduction because that also relates to Baby Wu. And finally, we have conspiracy to commit murder because she planned to kill the Emperor and Empress of Ninjago. She wanted this to happen. All of these are obviously crimes, and now let's get into the actual season. We start by skipping over Season 8's first episode because Harumi never does anything illegal during this episode, and we can move right on into the next episode, into episode 2 of Season 8, The Jade Princess, where we have Harumi's first ever on-screen crime. And it is domestic terrorism, with the destruction of the Palace of Secrets, which resulted in the Mask of Deception getting taken, the deaths of Hutchins, potentially other guards, and the Emperor and Empress of Ninjago. So when it comes to the crimes, that would involve, again, domestic terrorism, high treason, regicide, theft, and an assassination. It's not entirely clear as to whether or not Harumi wanted Hutchins and any potential guards to die as a result of the attack, although we know for a fact that she did want the Emperor and Empress to die, which would also end up falling under usurping the throne. So when it comes to the other characters, it's not super clear at this point whether or not they would end up counting as being manslaughter or murder, although I do have a feeling that when it comes to Harumi, given the way she is throughout the events of the season, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that she potentially did want Hutchins to die, but the rest of the guards were unintentional, so we'll count it for both. And so then we can move on, correct? Incorrect, because there's also 2 more crimes that Harumi commits when it comes to this. Specifically, the explosives that she actually used in order to blow up the Palace of Secrets. When it came to those explosives, for one, they were actually homemade weapons, which is illegal, and secondly, when it comes to those explosives, they were specifically meant to be planted and then explode with the specific intention being to kill people. Those are the equivalent of mines, which would end up counting as another outlawed weapon. That is 2 outlawed weapons that Harumi has used so far when it comes to this. And when it comes to outlawed weapons, those are actually considered to be war crimes, and Harumi commits many war crimes throughout the events of the season. Well, not many, but still, she does definitely commit war crimes when it comes to Season 8, so we will count that as another crime. Now we can finally move on after this. We then can skip to the episode Dead Man's Squall, where we will have the next set of crimes that Harumi committed, specifically cyber attack, considering she aided with planting the bug on Zane, which allowed the Sons of Garmadon to hack into the rest of the ninja's defense systems on the Destiny's Bounty and even Samurai X, aka Pixel, as well as also negligence, considering Harumi is completely aware of the bug and what it's capable of doing, and she knows for a fact that it plans on actually just hacking into the ninja systems, and Harumi does nothing in order to stop it. This would end up counting as negligence. Up next, we then have to talk about the episode Game of Masks, where we once again have Harumi down on a multitude of crimes. For stars, we have Harumi down on assault, considering she ends up fighting against Lloyd during this episode, so that is, again, assault, battery, as well as also assault with a deadly weapon, considering Harumi ends up using a knife. We also would have threatening with a deadly weapon when it comes to this, considering, again, said knife. We would also end up having kidnapping by the end of the episode, as well as 4 instances of attempted murder during this episode, considering Harumi tries to kill Lloyd 3 times by attempting to stab him with a knife during this episode, and once by attempting to drown him during this episode. All those cases would end up being counted as attempted murder, and you cannot make the argument saying that when it comes to Harumi, she was doing any of this in self-defense, considering she was the one who started the fight in the first place during this episode, and Lloyd was defending himself. Also, when it comes to Harumi fighting against Lloyd, when it comes to this would also end up counting as assault with intent to kill, considering Harumi definitely tries to kill Lloyd on multiple times when it comes to this fight. So again, assault with intent to kill when it comes to this. Once again, another crime. We then move on to the episode Drawn on Arrival, where we can mark Harumi down for false imprisonment, considering she locks up Lloyd in a cage even though she doesn't have to, as well as also coercion, considering she forces Lloyd and Misako to be present for the resurrection of Lord Garmadon. Also, the resurrection of Lord Garmadon would end up counting as being both demonic rituals and profiting off of stolen goods, because when it comes to 2 of the Oni masks, they are definitely stolen. We would also mark Harumi down for attempted murder once again when it comes to this episode, considering the fact that she does try to drown Lloyd during this episode again, and we would also have Harumi down for resisting arrest, considering she and the Sons of Garmadon do fight back against the police and the ninja, and later on Harumi once again fights against the police after she has been captured. We then move on to the penultimate episode of Season 8, True Potential, where we can mark Harumi down for prison break, considering she aids in the escape of all of the members of the Sons of Garmadon who are in Kryptarian prison, as well as also inciting violence, considering she does nothing to stop Garmadon when he's fighting against the other members of the Sons of Garmadon, and even encourages Garmadon to continue fighting constantly. Finally, we move on to the Season 8 finale, where we can mark Harumi down for military coup, treason, and domestic terrorism, considering the attack in Ninjago City. Plus, in addition, when it comes to this, we also have Harumi forcing Lloyd to watch the Oni Titan, and while that would not count as anything, what Harumi does right after would end up counting as attempted murder, considering she does try to kill Lloyd after this ends up happening. However, I cannot mark Harumi down when it comes to attempted murder for the ninja almost dying, because that was not actually Harumi. Instead, that was actually Lord Garmadon, and who did that. And so we can once again move on, right? Once again, no we cannot, because there's something that you need to remember. During this episode, Lloyd brings up the fact that with the Oni Titan rampaging, it's going to create more victims and more people are going to end up like Harumi. Lloyd's basically bringing up the fact that with the Oni Titan rampaging, innocent people are going to die. And Harumi's response to Lloyd saying that is her saying, and I quote, "This is only the beginning." Which implies that not only does Harumi think that innocent people are going to die as a result of the attack, but that she potentially wants innocent people to die as a result of the attack. So we can also mark Harumi down for attacking and killing civilians as a result of this action. There is also the fact that when it comes to Harumi, she once again tried to kill Lloyd with a knife, so that would also once again count as threatening with a deadly weapon. Up next, we move on to Season 9, where we can mark Harumi down for not that much actually, considering she only ever does anything illegal during one episode in particular, with that being the 5th episode of Season 9. And when it comes to this episode, we can mark Harumi down for assault, aggravated assault, and threatening with a deadly weapon, considering the attack that happened on the Resistance HQ. And when it comes to the deadly weapons, that would obviously be the katanas that Harumi used during this episode. And so that is it. So now let's tally up the results. So, when it comes to the crimes that Harumi ended up committing, they are listed as follows. Starring and leading a criminal organization, demonic cult activity, murder, regicide, assassination, manslaughter, 2 cases of domestic terrorism, treason, high treason, 2 cases of use of outlawed weapons, theft, cyber attack, 6 cases of attempted murder, 2 cases of assault, 2 cases of aggravated assault, 2 cases of battery, 2 cases of coercion, 2 cases of kidnapping, profiting off of stolen goods, demonic rituals, resisting arrest, prison break, military coup, attacking and killing civilians, 3 cases of threatening with a deadly weapon, negligence, war crimes, trespassing, 2 cases of false imprisonment, conspiracy to commit murder, child abduction, assault with intent to kill, usurping the throne, and inciting violence. That is a grand total of 49 crimes in total. And that is not including any of the stuff that Harumi has done when it comes to Crystallize, because at the time of me making this video, Crystallize Part 2 is not out yet. So, there you have it. Those are all the crimes that Harumi has committed over the events for a time in the show during seasons 8 and 9. And again, there's a grand total of 49 crimes. But again, here's another question. How long would Harumi go to jail? And again, please tell me down in the comments section if you want me to make a part 2 of this where I will actually go over Harumi's sentence. Again, please tell me down below and I hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, goodbye everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video.